What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm MoedotJ and we're locked in. This is episode 3 of Ozark season 4, and Marty and Wendy, they have a task on the plate that is going to be very tough for them. We know that they're trying to make Navarro look legit and get him up out the game so he can move freely. Now in episode 2, we seen them make a deal with a pharmaceutical company. This is where they're going to be able to bring them some opioids from the cartel so they can raise that $150 million so they can get the politicians to help Navarro out. Now we got that deal in place, but it's not complete. But before we break this down, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you want to be a part of it, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button, it's the easiest thing you can do. Now, the deal is in place, but they just took Agent Miller to go talk directly with Omar because she is supposed to be the one to get some details to help get all of this in order and get Navarro out the game. So let's jump into it. This is episode 3 of Ozarks season 4. We start this episode off with Agent Miller going to the airplane that Navarro was on. Now, when she gets here, she has her face covered up, so she doesn't know exactly where they're going. When she gets on here, Navarro's like, oh, eat. I know you have a newborn. Now, they have their little disagreements because you remember they were trying to kill his kid at a baptism. But that's a whole nother story. We're past that. What he's trying to figure out is what exactly does Agent Miller need from him to go ahead and get these things together. Now she's telling them, we need you to do jail time. We need to know how your whole organization's been running. Any person that you made disappear in the United States, we need an address of that person so we can start piecing these things together. Now Navarro's hearing all of this and he's thinking, that doesn't sound too good for me. That doesn't sound like something I want to do. Now I'm trying to cooperate with you all, but I don't want to do any jail time. I want it to be as a smooth transition as possible. But Miller, what she's doing? She's not fighting fair. Agent Miller says her and Marty, they work together. They need each other. But until you give me something that we can actually use, there's no deal on the table. She can't just go to her boss and say, yeah, Navarro cartel says he wants to roam freely. He'll give up his organization. No, we need the details to everything. So she tells him, until you have something that I can use, I'm out of here. And then she leaves. That's what I'm talking about, Miller. The 4 signs we need to look out for in this episode looks like oysters and a lemon slice, bolt cutters, Chinese foods, and chemical tools. So I'm gonna point those out for you so we know exactly what they're trying to hint to here. Since the beginning of the episode, we seen Wendy working on something. She was digging holes, placing rocks around it, pine cones, and digging things up. Well, this is a memorial spot that she's gonna keep lit in memory of Ben. Since the ashes are with Ruth, she feels this is something that they can look out at and they can always recognize and remember Ben. Maya, they drop her back off. She picks her son up. Of course, she is upset with Marty. You made me go out with this cartel leader and he ain't ready to cooperate. Stay the F away from me, Marty, until your boss is ready. Marty has to call Omar. Hey, what happened? He said, you'll need a sample. And what he's talking about is a sample of the drugs to give to the Pharmaceutical company. Told Marty this weekend, come to Chicago, you need to get it. Because now Navarro was thinking, okay, Marty, you need to get Miller back on this. But until then, we need to make some money. Ruth shows up to the farm to check on the operation and see when all of the work is done. Now we know her deal with the chef didn't fall through because Darlene heard what he was talking about. This ain't no hippie farm. We move heroin. That's it. Now the gentleman in here, he's telling Ruth, why does it matter? Your deal didn't fall through. Now she's telling him straight up, this is above your pay grade. So before you start sticking your dick in the stuff that you don't need to be sticking it in, be careful before it gets cut off. So he hears this and we know Ruth isn't going to play around. So he says, the day after tomorrow, it'll be ready. That's all Ruth wanted when she first came in. Hey, Mo, when is this work going to be done? Oh, 2 days, ma'am. And that's it, because I don't need to be talking to the boss. I need to get back to work. You remember the computer supplies from last episode? Jonah's down here. He got it up and running. I'm talking about 3 monitors. We about to be moving a lot of money, but that's only if Ruth can get us a new connect. Because right now we ain't making no money. We just got that motel for $450,000. Wendy is telling both of the kids, this here is the memorial site for Ben. So he'll always be here with us. And we already know how Jonah feels about all this. He's upset with his mom for allowing this to happen. So he says he's not going to be here. Maybe you can kill me and build one for me also. Now Charlotte, she's like, hey, Jonah, chill. You know what I'm saying? Mom is trying to make it happen, make things better. But at this point, Jonah, he's disconnected from this family. He doesn't want anything to do with it. We already seen he partnered up with Ruth. So that's where his mind's at. I want to launder money. Jonah pretty much tells his mom off and he goes back downstairs. There is business to handle. Looks like daily is 28,000, 250,000 is the total process in a test transaction. Hey, at 14 years old, this kid is way more advanced than I was at 14. We had dial up at 14 years old. So how does Wendy fight back? Since Jonah doesn't want to participate in the family activities, she goes in the basement and she goes over and turns off all the power. And not only does she turn off the power for Jonah, she locks up the box. Damn, I know Jonah is hurt. He was in the middle of a test transaction. Javi shows up to talk to his uncle Omar. We seen last episode Javier has been questioning Omar on how he's running things because we know he's trying to make a move and take that power position over the Navarro cartel. But Omar, as long as he's in power, he's using that power, and he, punched the hell out of him and told him, you need to know your place in here. Now, what he's talking to Omar about is the deal that Wendy and Marty made with this pharmaceutical company. Is, should I go up to Chicago and we have a family member there to watch it so these big corporations don't run over us? Now, what he's trying to do is be able to get in here, get inside of these deals. So if something does happen, he'll be in the front of it, which will make a better play for him to take out Omar. But Omar's hearing this and he's like, nah, this deal is between me, Marty, and Wendy because he's trying to get out the game. And he doesn't want Javier to know anything that he's doing. So he tells him, you leave Chicago alone. That's mine. Marty convinces Wendy to actually go to Chicago. Now, he still needs to get Agent Miller on his side. So that's the one reason that he's sending Wendy up there so they can have that heart-to-heart as women. But on the way there, she calls Jim. Jim is the political guy. He's the one that makes it happen. He's the one that gave them that ballpark figure of $150 million. Now, he's talking to Wendy and he's like, all right, how's everything going? She wants to know, when can we start getting the ball rolling? We need to start putting this money in people's pockets because Navarro, he isn't playing around right now. Wendy is trying to convince Agent Miller that, hey, yeah, it was kind of scary when I met Navarro also, but you need to go through with this. It will help out everybody. You already seen when they were at Wendy's house, she told Miller, if you don't help my family, I'm not going to help yours. Because at this point, it's putting everybody in a bad situation. If Navarro feels like his back's against the wall and the feds aren't going to help him, then, hey, why not? Get rid of somebody. Hurt somebody. So all we know is Agent Miller doesn't want to cooperate. And in the back room, her mom is listening to all this. So this may be more pressure put on her if grandma hears, Maya, you need to protect my grandchild. You might need to do what you can to get this up and running. Now, Agent Miller saying, all right, I could do it, but I need something from your boss. We're going to need the whole organization. We're going to need other cartel members. We're going to need something. You can't just turn it in and say you're done. No. There's bodies. We need something. And you're going to have to do a little bit of jail time. Now, I'd say, let me do 6 months jail time, maybe a year jail time, but in a nice facility. And I get to keep at least $100 million. Back at the Byrdes, Jonah is upset. So who does he call? Ruth. Because Wendy, she cut all the power to the basement. Now, luckily, he was just in a test transaction, because if not, the account would have been flagged and everything would have messed up. Now, you see Marty, he's calm about the situation. He's trying to keep his son with him. But what is Jonah doing? He's packing up everything and he's going with Ruth. And Ruth is saying, don't be mad at me. I'm just doing what Jonah wants. When Wendy gets here, she's like, no. Jonah is not leaving. Marty got his hands in his pockets talking about, well, yep, that's what it looks like. But what she's doing now is trying to tell him everything that went on. No one ever gives the whole story here. She's saying that if it wasn't for Ruth, he would have just been using her. He's talking about Ben. She got him off his meds. This is how you end up getting kidnapped by Darlene and getting your head shaved. Don't go with them, Ben was mentally ill, so he didn't really know what was going on. And Ruth just led him down the path. Now, Ruth did play a little bit of it, but Wendy, at the end of the day, this was all on you. And Jonah, he still leaves. Ruth takes Jonah over to the motel. This is where he's going to set up his computers and get to working. Now, we seen Wyatt was at the farm also, and he was putting down posts to put up a fence. When he comes and talks to Ruth, he's saying, I seen you over there. What was you doing? Now she's trying to make things happen because Darlene, she doesn't have anybody to distribute any of the drugs. Now, Wyatt, on the other hand, he's sticking up for Darlene because that's his girlfriend. This is his meal ticket. And he's saying if she finds out what you're doing, she's going to be upset. And on top of that, you hired a kid. And she's saying this isn't a regular kid. This is Marty's kid. Plus, they needed somebody. You couldn't put an ad in the newspaper. Hey, we need somebody that's going to help launder money. Now, these two, they get into it because Wyatt loves his cousin. But he's saying everyone you work with, Ruth, you fight with. And we've seen that everywhere she worked at. When she was at the strip club, fighting with people, fighting with Marty, fighting with Darlene. She always fights with people. And she said, no, I don't. And exactly what he means. But she storms off. We got to see how this is going to work out. Ruth is trying to get this organization up and running. Darlene is just sitting back and doing whatever. You remember Erin. Erin is Helen's daughter. They didn't like each other. She stayed with her dad for the most part. But there's been an agent, an investigator, going down to the Ozarks named Mel that was hired by her dad because he's trying to finish this divorce. Now, Erin and Charlotte, I wouldn't say they were friends. Charlotte was just talking to her and keeping her busy while she was in the Ozarks because Helen has something going on with Wendy. Now, Erin is asking Charlotte, what do you know about my mother? And Charlotte's like, I'm telling you the truth. I thought she went back to Chicago. Now, Erin, she's not listening to this or believing it because you already lied to her about being friends. So Charlotte tells her, I'm going to figure out what I can and I will let you know. One of the symbols we have was the Chinese food. This is because they're about to make a decision to go back to Chicago because Charlotte, she talked to Erin. Now, Marty is asking, did you really need to have this conversation? Wendy's saying, yeah, one, because we don't need Erin to be suspicious that Charlotte wasn't trying to figure out what's going on with Helen because she told her she would find out. So what they're doing is, since Wendy's the only one that's been back to Chicago since, all three of them are going to go, but Jonah will stay. I don't know how this will work with Jonah down here with no real supervision up under Ruth. You can see how rebellious Jonah is. Everyone else is using chopsticks and he's using a fork. He doesn't want to do anything with the family. Even though he lives here, he still doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Plus, he can't go to Chicago. He just told him, I got to work. You see Wendy's face. She's looking. She's upset that he moved up all his work outside of the house. Now they're leaving Jonah and Marty lays down strict ground rules. Nobody in the house. Shut everything down. Turn the alarm off and he gives him some money. Now Jonah's talking about, Dad, my net worth is over 6 figures. But all that money is tied up in crypto and stocks. Same here, Pops. If you're watching this, my net worth is over $100,000, not liquid, in investments. So I can't touch it, y'all. I'm really broke in real life. But Charlotte tells Jonah, listen, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And Jonah takes that as, steal 10,000 and buy a messed up van? Say less, sister. What's the first thing Jonah does after they pull off? He looks down the street. Oh, they gone. Let me go get my jacket, get my bike. I'm getting up out of here. I'm not about to sit at the house. There's money to be made. Jonah's over here showing Ruth everything that's going on here. How all these different shell companies, when the money comes in, it'll go through maybe 20.9 trillion different transactions within the split of a second. Just depends on how they need it. Ruth's hearing all this. She doesn't really know what's going on. She's just like, damn, 20 trillion? That's a lot more than 20 million. Darlene shows up to confront Ruth about what's going on because Ruth went to the farm and was talking to the workers, trying to get some of that product and put it out here. Now, we know Wyatt is the reason Darlene came over here. Darlene says he's your cousin, but we're messing around, we're dating, so you need to leave my product alone. Ruth mentions, you hired me because you know what I'm capable of doing. Darlene said, I hired you because you have balls, but don't touch my product. What we're seeing here is old versus new. You see the older people, they like to do things a certain way. What Ruth is doing, she's taking a different route and bringing in Jonah and using the technology and the networking to make things run. But Darlene don't want to hear that. We run this the way the snails run it. Darlene leaves. Ruth asks Jonah, are the accounts online? Because if so, we're using them tomorrow. Ruth is about to get aggressive. They arrive back in Chicago. Now, it's been a while, but when they get here, Some old friends run into him. They're like, oh, hey, Marty, Wendy, we haven't seen you. You guys moved to Missouri? And Wendy, she's trying to play it off like, yeah, we ran the numbers. We wanted a simpler life. So we went to the Ozarks and we opened up a casino. Now, opening up a casino is not a regular life. Let's just be honest. Us getting up and going to our 9 to 5 is a regular life. Opening a casino, that's beyond regular. Now, the gentleman says, oh, at least that part is true. Because they've been hearing things. You know, there's always rumors going around when you're doing something. Omar calls Marty. And Marty's like, all right, we're winning. We're in Chicago. We're making things happen. Omar says, no, we aren't winning until I win. Matter of fact, give me Agent Miller's number. Marty, he's like, oh, hell no. You done already messed this up. And plus, he wants to keep Maya safe because he doesn't have anything against Maya. She just did her job as an agent. And he's trying to help her out and help himself out. But he ends up hanging up on Navarro. Now, this move right here was very bold by Marty. Darlene shows up at the Kansas City mob, Frank's office, because she owes him $500,000 for them rehabs that she's been opening up. Now, they're both going back and forth because he's saying, you didn't tell me about this stuff and I had my men go out there and waste all their time. And what does Darlene say? Well, you didn't warn me that you weren't going to be moving my product. So we're both in the same spot. But Frank is telling her, you owe me $500,000. And this little product that you brought me, I don't want that. I want my cash. Darlene, she's upset. She's in a predicament that she didn't think she would be in. So it's looking like she may need Ruth just because nothing is working for her right now. Darlene's carrying around this baby and they gave it an infant crying noise. Look how long these legs are on this kid. This kid ain't crying like that. Charlotte shows up to talk to Erin. Now they're in a public place, so nothing can happen, and she wants Erin to feel as comfortable as possible. But she ends up letting her know that, hey, your mother, she may be dead. Now I don't understand why Marty and Wendy allowed her to go and do this, but Erin is asking, why? Did your parents have something to do with this? I know they did. And Charlotte's like, if they did, why would they have me come and tell you this? Now, your mom worked for dangerous people. I'm sorry, that's all I know. I wouldn't even have told Erin that much. I would have told her to go out there and say, hey, we haven't spoke to your mom. She left. We thought she came to Chicago, and I would have just kept it at that. Charlotte also tells Erin that, hey, those dangerous people, it could potentially put you, your dad, his girlfriend, all of y'all in jeopardy. Now, we didn't have anything to do with Helen, but trust me, if something happens in the future, we could potentially have something to do with it. Now, I don't know if this was a subtle threat, but Erin's listening. She's like, uh-oh, I might need to fall back a little bit. It's time for the meeting with the Shaw Pharmaceutical Corporation. And guess who shows up? Javi. Oh, nice to see you, Marty. Marty's like, why is he here? What they're doing here is illegal. This pharmaceutical company is about to get drugs from a cartel to use that is quote unquote FDA approved to put out in the system. You know what I'm saying? Put out in the world. Now they're getting pat down. Cell phones got to be put up. Javi, he's sitting there and he didn't really want to put his phone in there because he thinks he's the cartel. Well, these pharmaceutical companies have the power to take down a cartel. So let's just go along with it. You remember Jim told Wendy, with all of these states, there's one guy in Illinois that you used to have issues with that you need to get in your pocket. Now, when they get here, he's saying, I've been waiting for this moment, Wendy, to tell you, fuck you to your face. Wendy is like, at least just let me do my pitch. Even though we have differences, this may be something that we can both benefit from. It's one thing to have a disagreement with somebody, but when $150 million is rolled out in front of you for a board seat, it makes you start to think about things a little bit differently. Now, I'm a senator and I have $150 million backing me to potentially run for president. I won't say this is a F you, Wendy, but let me think about it. They might have just bought them. Another one of the signs, the chemical equipment. Well, they're here with Claire and it's time to test the product from the cartel. Now, this is significant because Wendy, she's using the $150 million that's going to come from this deal for the political side. Marty is drawing the connection between the cartel and the pharmaceutical company. The only bad part is Javi, he's up here and he's saying he's going to be the liaison between his uncle and Claire to make this work. Now, he's going to actually be here for the first shipment to make sure that it goes smoothly. And what does he tell Claire? You're the first gringo that I met who killed more people than his family. And that's just facts. Pharmaceutical companies kill people at alarming rates, higher than any cartel can keep up with. I told you, Ruth, she's going to take things into her own hands. She calls the chef back. Now we know he has some money and he has friends with money. They do their little exchange and he's saying, is there any way we can party? They not going to make it back to Chicago. She's talking about, well, if you come with me, I know a place that may not draw that much heat. Now they're sitting here and the chef, he's asking, okay, how'd you get the name 3? Well, they're talking about Dale Earnhardt Sr. He drove the number 3 car, the best racer ever. So that's how 3 got that name. He also wants to know who is Jonah, because if he's going to be bringing this money and doing drugs, he wants to know who's all around. Is he your cousin also? She's like, nah, that's my business partner. Darlene pulls up and of course she's upset. She told Ruth, don't touch my product. But what does Ruth do? Gives her a bag of money. That right there changes Darlene's whole perspective, because Frank just said, you owe me $500,000 and Frank, he will collect. So Darlene's her whole demeanor changes. I knew I hired you for a good reason, because Ruth told her you've been looking for somebody with enough balls to match your energy. So we in business. After sealing the deal with the pharmaceutical company, they get their cell phones back and Javi says, well, it looks like this gun deal is getting pushed up and moved to tonight. I gotta handle this. Marty immediately gets on the phone and calls Omar and tells him, you need to give up this gun deal right now. If you give this to Miller, this is something that she's looking for that can help you. You already won the war. You got this new deal. You can move the drugs. You need some information to give to her. Now, Omar, he's thinking that Marty is trying to play him, but he's telling him, listen, I'm not playing you. This will work. I'm going to give you Miller's number. You know, originally he didn't want to do it, but he's saying this right here will help the plan move faster if you can give up this large gun deal. Claire talks to Wendy and she's saying your husband is in the basement with your business partner, Javi. Now she's upset because she thought that Wendy and Marty were going to be the ones brokering this deal, but Javi is in charge. And she's saying that she doesn't want to be anything like her brother. She wants to save her family. Listen, you're in bed with the cartel. When you took this deal, you knew it was bad. You can save your family by selling the pharmaceutical company. This is just the greed. Even if they sold this company, they could sell it for $300, $400, $500 million and they will be set. But it's the greed. You want to keep making that money. You could easily remove yourself and still take care of your family for at least the next 50 to 60 generations. But Wendy tells her, just focus on the jobs that you're saving and also all the illegal drugs you're getting off the street. Claire, you agreed to this. It's no reason to act scared now. Omar calls Agent Miller. It's a blocked number. Now she hears him on the phone and you know she's scared because how the hell did you get this number? And he says, how do you think I got it? You said you wanted some information. Well, here it goes. Write it down. So he's actually giving up this gun deal because he's trying to get himself out the game. Now, Miller, she writes this down and she goes over to her mom and tells her, I got to get up out of here right now, Ma. I got some work to do. Now, the mom, she's been hearing things. So she sees how her daughter is acting and she's looking at Maya and she's just like, I don't know what you got yourself into, but darling, be safe. It's go time. We got the whole FBI out. We got on all the tactical gear. We about to stop this shipment of guns thanks to Marty and Navarro and Miller. I'm talking about she's about to be getting promoted higher and higher and higher. She brought down a cartel. She just stopped a cartel's shipment of guns. Damn, Maya. And you were at house on maternity leave too. And you're doing this. Oh, girl, I'm talking about you about to, boy, the big bucks are rolling in now. Another sign, the oyster and the lemons. They're having a dinner with Javi. And this is where things could get a little, misconstrued, especially with this gun shipment getting stopped. Which leads us straight to the last signal, the boat cutters. And this is how they're getting in the back of the truck to see if the guns are actually in there. I'm not a seafood person, but Javi is giving the tutorial, the one-on-one on how to eat oysters. You don't chew, you just slurp it down. Now, Wendy and Marty, they're looking at it. Is Javi getting a little too close to Charlotte? They get in the back of the truck. They got to go all the way to the front of it. They looking around. Clear! They get in there. Miller, she's like, open these boxes up. And what do we find in there? Omar really gave up a shipment of guns. And now Miller, she's calling Marty, but Marty is eating with Javi. This is where the tension started to get high. Marty knows what this call is for because he gave up the number to Omar to get Maya to seize the guns. Now, Javi's getting the call. He was the one that was setting up the drug shipment. So look at Marty. He's looking because he knows that this could end bad. Marty's trying to play it off. Yeah, Charlotte, when we get back, we can look at those college campuses and set up some tours. Now, Javi comes back and he asks, Javi, is everything all right? And you can tell there was something wrong, but Javi smiles and he kills, he kills the champagne. Yeah, everything's all right. Oh man, it's about to get ugly. Then he proposes a toast to you guys' business being my business and my business being your business. So this could be a subtle jab at my guns are gone. Now y'all need to get in my business and figure this out. Just like I'm in y'all business figuring out the pharmaceutical stuff. There you go, episode 3 of Ozarks. Let me know what you think is going to happen between Javi and his uncle Omar and Javi and Marty. And is this gun deal, is this going to play a big part moving forward? Let me know what you guys think. I'm MoedotJ. If you like the content on the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.